Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I want to do a very short video covering something I'm going to be discussing shortly on Jay Smith's channel, which has also already been recorded for Al-Fadi's channel. So this is a preview of some of the content. We're going to discuss Quran 65.4. Well, let's start with a public fatwa. Why is Islam allowed to marry children of girls of age below 10 without their permission? Well, that's shocking. Can you justify this ruling of Islam child marriage? This is Fatwa 22442 on IslamQA, published on the 30th of June 2002, and it's at 117,000 views. Marrying a young girl before she reaches the age of adolescence is permitted in the Sharia. There was scholarly consensus on this point. In other words, there is unanimous agreement by the major scholars of Islam, the founders of the schools of jurisprudence. And those of your women as have passed the age of monthly courses, from them, the iddah, the prescribed period, if you have doubt about their periods, is 3 months. And for those who have no courses, they're still immature, their iddah, prescribed period, is 3 months likewise. That's the Quran 65.4. In this verse, we see that Allah has made the iddah in the case of divorce of a girl who does not have periods because she's young and has not yet reached puberty 3 months. Now, the Imam on IslamQA who is writing this fatwa, and this site receives something like 400, up to 400 million views a month, one of the biggest in the world with a huge following, tells us bluntly that this refers to a young girl who is young and has not reached puberty. This clearly indicates that Allah has made this a valid marriage. They provide two of the hadith of Aisha from Da'if Bukhari and Da'if Muslim. I say that because we all know that they're going to be Da'if as soon as we quote them. The Prophet married her when she was 6. He consummated the marriage when she was 9. That's Bukhari 4840 and Muslim 1422. The Prophet married Aisha when she was 6 and consummated when she was 9. Narrated by Da'if Bukhari and Da'if Muslim. And Muslim says 7 years, as do some others, but the majority view is 6. Now they do state here, and this is questionable, does not mean that it is permissible to have intercourse with her. So the fact that it is permissible to marry a young girl does not mean that it is permissible to have intercourse with her. Well, we'll see about that. If the husband and the guardian of the girl agree upon something that will not harm the young girl, then that may be done. Well, okay. If they disagree, then Ahmad and Abu Ubaid said that once a girl reaches the age of 9, then the marriage may be consummated even without her consent. That may be called, in the West we would call that, the word is grape. Take away the G. It rhymes with grape. But that does not apply in the case of one who is younger. Lying is not only permissible in Islam, not only legal, it is obligatory. There is nothing in the hadith of Aisha to set an age limit or to forbid that in the case of a girl who is able for it before the age of 9. Here they've publicly admitted that marriage with a minor is permissible, sex with a minor is fully legal, and in fact, if she is at the age of 9, then she may be forced to submit to this deed without her consent. Again, we have a name for that in Western law. Let us have a look at what the Islamic law tells us. Faith aside, Islam is a religion of law. Thus, there are two basic questions that follow. What are its laws, and where are they written? On the basis of the exploratory analysis of the reported cases, the following books are found to be relied upon more frequently by the courts to derive what is an authentic point of Islamic law on a particular issue. So the Islamic courts of Pakistan, and after I displayed this evidence to a Muslim in a discussion, when I quoted numerous of these Islamic sources and showed that these Islamic sources are utilized within the Pakistani court system, the Muslim told me Pakistanis are not real Muslims. Yeah. So the Pakistani court system will refer to the Hidayah, translated by Charles Hamilton. This translation is to 1791. There's a newer translation, but it does, I believe, try to whitewash some of the statements that are made in the earlier translation, which I believe is more accurate. 2. The Digest of Mohammedan Law by Neil Bailey. They also have Mohammedan Law by Said Amir Ali and Principles of Mohammedan Law by D.F. Mullah. Right. Now, we're going to look at number 2 here, this Digest of Mohammedan Law, which the Pakistani courts use. And if we have a look here, we'll see that This is from a paper called Genealogical Analysis of Islamic Law Books, relied on in the courts of Pakistan, written by two professors of law. Shahbaz Ahmed Chima, he's a professor, PhD, at the University of the Punjab, University Law College, and Samir Wazir Khan, assistant professor, the Law College, University of the Punjab, Lahore. Okay, so two associate and full professors of law. This is the digest of Mohammedan law. Links will be in the description below in my archive, so you can download and check this for yourself. Let's go to page 26. Fourth, when a man has had sexual intercourse with a girl under the age of 9 years and has ruptured the parts, you decide for yourself which parts those are, but they're south and not north. It is unlawful for him to have further connection with her, but she is not released from her ties if connected with him by marriage or slavery. Do understand, Islamic law is eternal. The Quran is abrogated. Even the Hadith are abrogated. However, the Sharia can never be abrogated, never be annulled, never be replaced. If no rupture has taken place, the prohibition is not incurred according to the most valid opinion. In other words, if you do not destroy her private parts, then keep doing it. If you do destroy her private parts, she remains connected with you, whether the connection is from marriage or slavery. I trust you can do the maths on that. Let's have a look at the Reliance of the Traveller. This is the most popular, the most accessible, the most available Islamic law text in the world. A woman's postmarital waiting period, the iddah. There is no waiting period for a woman divorced before having sex with her husband. Okay, fairly easy to comprehend. Let's continue. A waiting period is obligatory for a woman divorced after intercourse, whether the husband and wife are prepubescent, have reached puberty, or one has and the other has not. Intercourse means copulation. Now, the waiting period is obligatory for a woman divorced after intercourse, even if she is prepubescent, or one is prepubescent and the other is not prepubescent. This is explicit. This acknowledges the fact that prepubescent sex is legal in Islam. Let's continue. This is law number E 10.3. When a woman who has been made love to performs the purificatory bath and the male's sperm leaves her vagina, then she must repeat the ablution if two conditions exist. A, that she is not a child. So this ruling is not incumbent upon her. She does not have to do the ablution, the purificatory bath, if she is a child. Understand the implication here. Notice this other law. This is in Reliance 0413, Book of Justice, page 592. Or for injuring the peritoneal wall between vagina and rectum so they become one aperture. They're talking about a minor child, an infant. When a man has penetrated her and ripped the skin between these two orifices. This is fiqh, Islamic law to educate women. And this one is called the Bahishti Zever, right? It's also known as the Jewels of Paradise, or the Heavenly Ornaments, and it's supposedly a favorite with the people of the Indian subcontinent as well as the Indian Muslim diaspora all over the world. It's a comprehensive handbook of fiqh, and in fact it calls itself an encyclopedia of Islamic law, containing Islamic rituals and Islamic morals. Let's have a look at those morals. If a person has sexual intercourse with a minor girl, ghusl will not be obligatory. This is the ablution. So, if you have sexual intercourse with a minor girl, she does not need to bath. But in order to get her into the habit, she should be made to bath. If a woman is underage, this is an explicit statement, but not so small that if one has intercourse, there's a fear of the vaginal tissues tearing to such an extent that the vagina and anus will virtually come together. This is again corroboration of what we've just seen in other legal texts. Then by the insertion of the glands of the penis into the vagina, ghusl will become fard, obligatory, on the man if he has reached the age of puberty. They're speaking of a woman who is underage and now a man who is under the age of puberty. If, of course, he may well be a mature adult. He might be in his 30s or 40s or 50s while taking an underage girl to bed. However, if there is the aforementioned fear and now they clarify this even further in a very minor goal. Now, I have a distinction between an underage goal and a very minor goal. The mere insertion of the penis does not render ghusl obligatory. I trust you can interpret that yourself. Let's look at the final law here from this book that I'm going to show. If a person whose testicles have been cut off inserts his penis into the back part of anyone or the vagina of a woman, ghusl will be fard obligatory on both of them if both are mature. If both are mature. Well, alternatively, it will be fard on the one who is mature. So let's assume the man is mature and the girl is immature, minor. To the maths. I think this is explicit, this is immoral, this is Islamic morals. This is the heavenly ornaments. You can see that here. And this book is an encyclopedia of Islam dealing in a very simple way with the tenets and principles to practice in day-to-day life. These are practices of day-to-day Islam. Let me continue. I'll end off with this law, Law N 11.2. A husband who accuses his wife of adultery is disciplined. Fantastic. This is called tazir, right? Defined in section 017. If a man accuses his wife of adultery, falsely accuses her, he is disciplined. Especially when adultery is impossible, such as when the person accused is a mere infant. So when you accuse your infant wife of adultery and she's innocent of it, such as when she was approached by another rather than she initiated such contact, when your wife is cheating on you, your infant wife cheats on you with another man, this is not her fault because she could not have initiated it. It had to be the fault of the other man. So you cannot blame her. The adultery was impossible. So if your wife is sleeping around, it's not her fault when she's an infant. I trust this clarifies the meaning of Quran 65:4 and how this has been further elucidated, exegeted in Islamic law. And this behavior is 100% legal. Prepubescent sex is perfectly legal, perfectly normal, and well covered within Islamic law. Thank you.